Squirrel fills man's truck with 42 gallons of walnuts, leading people to be shocked that walnuts are apparently measured in gallons.
Transgender weightlifter named Sportswoman of the Year, proving that women can accomplish anything with a little hard work and a ton of testosterone.
Sea lion jumps onto woman's boat to escape pod of killer whales. But don't worry, this story has a happy ending if you're rooting for the whales.
Drunk man reported missing joins own search party. He left after realizing the party had no booze.
We discussed The Way Down, the new HBO Max series about Gwen Shamblin, whose church members lost weight as her hair gained weight. Let's get a picture of that.
And we look at some of our favorite behind-the-scenes mishaps while filming sketches for the Babylon Bee. Aww.
All this and more on
The Bee Weekly.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Babylon Bee podcast, the most exciting podcast that you listen to that is associated with the Babylon Bee. I'm Kyle, this is Adam, and this is Ethan.
Hey, hi.
And thanks for joining us today.
We're all here today, yeah.
We're all here. I got back from a fun-filled week in Vegas with the family. We brought
That's
the
why you
kids.
had dark rings under your eyes.
That's why I'm like, yeah.
You're all out of money.
Yeah, I was just snorting coke off
That's what happens when you go with the family.
things. Yeah.
Things.
We did the family-friendly version.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You went to the kids' Coke Lounge.
That's right.
They have Coke buffets, right? They're
there's a
really
whole
good. It's a
buffet,
good
yeah.
deal.
Well, the Coke buffets are closed because of COVID. So sadly.
I like those. You just walk around with your own straw and just sample.
Sample all the different,
You can
brands.
only pull your mask down if you're actively doing Coke. It's part of that.
Or making
part of
out
the
with
health,
a prostitute.
Part of the health
Yeah,
rules.
there's-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It is really funny. People are like sitting in the smoke-filled room.
Yes.
And they're just like smoking packs and packs of cigarettes and they put their mask on after.
Yeah. What are the rules like in Vegas right now?
Oh, I was going to say, it's insane. It's like I'm going to this like restrictive land of where the pandemic is still happening.
Really?
Yeah, every single place you walk in, where's your mask? You know, like,
Wow.
holy cow, man, it was nuts. I haven't experienced that in a long time.
Is
I'm
it
not
like
in LA
even-
or anything.
Because I
but-
thought they started to like relax the rules there for a while. Because I was there last year and it was super strict when I was
Really?
there, and it was weird because it was like you're in Vegas, but everyone's like sitting alone, like in their own little bubble, and it didn't feel like.
I'm
Vegas
sure
at
it's
all.
more relaxed than then, but still coming from, our area is a little more relaxed out here, and people were just slapping on the mask as soon as they walk in the store, and
Wow.
we always wait until they ask us to, so we walk in and hey,
Yeah.
it was kind of crazy, but yeah, I guess it's that county is more liberal. Hey everybody, we got a new book coming out in just under a month. You can join the launch team, and we're gonna have a link for that. The Babylon Bee Guide to Wokeness. It's hilarious, the best book that you will read on your toilet this year. So you
Yeah.
can pre-order it today, or you can join the launch team and help us get some reviews up and get some momentum going on launch day. So check that out. We'll have links in the show notes for you.
I love that we're making it to the top of Christian inspirational books.
We're like above Joel Osteen.
And we're right there next to 1984 and
Yeah, maybe we can pull that
satire.
screenshot. But I think we ended up topping 1984, or we were right under it. It was like 1984, The Babylon Bee Guide to Wokeness, and then Fahrenheit 451
Really?
on the charts.
So if your book is above 1984, does that mean like in the future people are going to compare that dystopia and they'll be like, this is just like the Babylon Bee's Guide to Wokeness?
well, you're doing good if your book is still in that on the top of that list in like however how long it's been,
Yeah.
50 years or whatever.
Right, yeah, that's what's amazing about 1984. It's been out for so long. And
Yeah,
it's still
at
on
least
the top
since
of the
It's good to see
1984.
Joel Osteen's going so well also. He needs
Well, it was
that, he
written in
needs
the
that
40s.
money.
Oh. Did you know 1984 was based on Chesterton?
G.K. Chesterton.
Yeah, anyway, sorry.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know that.
I don't think I
He
heard.
used the year 1984 in one of his books, and that was apparently where
the inspiration.
it
Well, you've arrived because everybody says Orwellian. If people said like, this is so
yeah, it's
Babylonian.
Yeah.
This is Babylonian totalitarianism.
Yeah, well, it definitely has become a thing where people go, this sounds like a Babylon Bee
right.
headline.
Yeah, we're not quite at the Orwellian level yet. We're getting close. Hey, we got an interview show coming out this Monday for subscribers and Tuesday for poor people with James Polis.
Polis. This is a wacky interview of smart guy talking about how the computers are going to take over or something, or they are, or we all
Something like
cyborgs or
that.
something like that. I wasn't quite picking it up, but it was a funny interview.
Yeah, he's the executive editor of the Claremont Institute, and he was a super smart guy. And we asked him, hey, what do you think about smartphones? And he'd have a 15-minute response for us about the spiritual significance of the smartphone. And
Yeah, the cyborg takeover.
it was super exciting, and he actually got to come to our studio, and I always like those interviews a little
they're
better
more
when
fun.
they're there with us. So check that out. Become a subscriber at babylonbee.com/plans if you want to get the interview a day early and get the full interview. because we had more talk to say behind the paywall. Let's do some Babylon Bee articles of the week, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Calvinist/Reformed fans of the Babylon Bee. Are you ever standing in line and you see an eligible co-ed next to you or behind you or in front of you or however people stand in lines, and you're like, I wonder if that eligible bachelor and or bachelorette knows that I'm a Calvinist? Now you can inform them that you're a Calvinist, and then maybe God will have ordained a conversation for you guys to, hook up. Not in the weird secular way, but in like the, just normal like hang out way that we used to use it in the early 2000s, late 90s. Anyway, you can buy this shirt that says, "No one is a good boy, Calvinist dog," which is funny because, you always ask dogs, like, who's a good boy? And then they're like, I'm a good boy. And now you can be like, oh, look, that's funny. And then maybe that girl's like, ha, 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 that's so funny. And then you get a number, and then you guys, get married and everything. And that's how God preordained everything. So get the "No one is a good boy, Calvinist dog" t-shirt today, and your love life will skyrocket as God has ordained from eternity past.
Banger of the week.
Hackers warned that if demands aren't met, they will reactivate Facebook. Facebook really did tank for a whole day.
Wow, I wonder what that is like at Facebook. That
You gotta think there's alarms
just,
and fires going off everywhere.
It's like ants on an anthill after you pour some Sprite into it.
Zuckerberg is screaming at everybody. Yeah, I guess the weird thing is that they use Facebook for a lot of their internal infrastructure of like getting into the building. Like all their technology powers that, so they couldn't even like get in.
Wow.
The employees couldn't get into the Facebook headquarters to fix Facebook because it's integrated into their security system. So eventually they actually deployed they said, we're sending a team to go reset the Facebook servers. And they had to go over to their servers across town, open the building, turn everything off, turn it back on.
Did they ever identify what the issue was? Like,
they said they pushed an update and it broke the whole system. Someone's in trouble.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
It'd be wild to run a site that huge. It's just unfathomably massive.
Yeah. Well, it was a great day though.
Yeah.
Facebook was shut down and Instagram
Where was
too.
world peace for 5 hours?
It's kind of nice.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Hey, you guys want to do our bomb of the week?
Bomb of the week, or is it dud? Do we call it dud of the week or bomb?
Back in the day, me and Adam used to call them bangers and bombs, and bomb and joke. So I kind of liked that, but dud is fine with me too.
Because we already have.
If I'm outvoted,
we have a thing that pops up already that will say dud.
Dud of the week.
I think it says dud, but we can change it to bomb.
Executive
Whatever you want,
decision.
sir.
It's bomb.
It's bomb now.
Bomb of the week.
Amazon introduces Alexa-powered robot that can slap problematic books out of your hand. Funny? Not funny?
Sure. I mean,
I'm thinking about it, I'm processing it.
the visuals. I like the visual of the robot slapping.
It's a very visual. It's a very visual joke.
Slapping.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that funny.
Was that one that's published without your permission?
I had no knowledge.
I can't tell if it's a trick joke, like you're asking me if it's funny and you wrote it.
The end of the article says, as you can use voice commands to tell it to make fart noises. That always gets a laugh.
Fart noise is good. How did that not do better? That's the real
Should put it in the title. New Amazon robot makes fart noises. 30,000 shares.
I'm just going to say it bombed because it's a conspiracy against conservative content.
Yeah. Yep, it's right-wing suppression.
Right-wing suppression. Yeah. Sad. You want to do some weird news?
Yeah, that's my favorite kind of news.
This news is weird.
And squirrel news.
In today's squirrel news. A squirrel filled this man's truck with 42 gallons of walnuts. His truck's
Do you even know how much a gallon of walnuts cost? That's like what was that in the rich guy is asking his son, you know what a gallon of milk costs? And they have no idea because they're rich.
Oh, yeah.
That's like how it shows that you're like how disconnected you are from reality if you don't even know how much a gallon
How
of
much
milk
can a
costs
banana
right now.
cost? $10?
That's the rich squirrel asking his son that. Do you know how much a gallon of walnuts costs? Okay, that joke's been over for a while.
Is that a big...
I don't know how many walnuts that, like, I don't even know if that's a lot of walnuts or not, because I
shows
can't
you
fill a
picture
gallon
what a gallon of walnuts
It
looks
shows
like.
him with like 7 of those giant Home Depot buckets filled with the things after
man.
he took them out. So that's a lot.
They should have said that. A squirrel filled this man's truck with 7 Home Depot buckets of walnuts.
We're talking about Americans. We don't want to use the metric system.
It's all our
So we
different
measure.
imperial measurements.
He filled it with 1 truck engine compartment worth of walnuts.
It says he's been saddled with a massive cleanup job after a squirrel filled his truck's engine compartment with walnuts. But he's also been gifted a massive amount of walnuts. Does he like walnuts? I'm not a big fan of walnuts personally.
He says he can't get some of them out.
Oh.
As he drives, he hears them rolling around in the frame rail wells.
So it's just been crawling up in there. And...
That is just nuts.
I wonder how many gallons of walnuts he would say are still left in the truck.
Yeah, there could be more in there.
Well, one rail well worth of walnuts. It's still in the truck.
I would be. I mean, can you imagine being the squirrel? You do all that work in, and one day you come back. And you're like,
Oh, come on.
ah, nuts.
Nuts.
That's
Yeah.
what squirrels. That's squirrel
I already
swearing.
did a nuts pun and nobody reacted. That's gracious.
Hey, transgender weightlifter Laurel Hubbard was named the Sportswoman of the Year. Biological male Laurel Hubbard was recently dubbed University. Hey, who wrote that? Biological male. I'm just reading. University of Otago's Sportswoman of the Year. So it's not like the World Federation of Women's Sports.
That doesn't even sound like
it's
a real
Otago.
thing. That sounds like a fake university like PragerU or something.
Mm-hmm. Apparently they've done this for 100 years.
A woman won this title at the fake university.
This is one of those things where you just don't. I mean, there's the obvious.
I guess it is a big deal. It's ranked in the top 1% of universities in the world. It's a big one in New Zealand. And she was a New Zealand weightlifter, wasn't
big
she?
New Zealand.
So
New
it's
Zealand's
big, like-
small, so everything there's big. This is the biggest university in New Zealand. Well, yeah, what's New Zealand the size of Idaho or something?
The biggest.
Even their
McDonald's,
women are big. They're like the size of a man.
Oddly.
They remind you of a man. It's really weird. So she's the first transgender. She, the first transgender winner of the award during the event's more than 100-year history. Breaking ground, taking.
I like how they say in the more than 100-year history, you're never going to hear, like, in 1897, a transgender woman won this title.
The second one.
This was all made up in the last, 2 decades.
Do women celebrate this? Like, all right, cool. Or is that like, oh, wait.
You just always feel.
I feel
really,
it's like the woke crowd celebrates it. Like,
yeah.
Like, it's not for the, like, women as a sex or a gender anymore. It's just the woke people that like transgender issues will celebrate it.
Yeah, you always think that second place person who's sitting there like, what?
Yeah.
No, really.
That person has to hate it the most.
The balls
Yeah,
on
and the
that woman.
And
Take this title away from
the
a real woman.
cojones.
Yeah. Can I read the line about
Sure.
why Laurel
we'll
Hubbard
see.
didn't place in this is real because I looked it up.
We will not comment on it.
We're
not adding any.
I'm not making a
This
joke.
is a real thing.
This is the real line. Although Laurel Hubbard's Olympic run was short-lived after the 87-kilogram division competitor failed to complete all 3 of her snatch attempts.
Okay, moving on.
Number 3 story
That's real.
of the day.
Guy trying to sell auto parts online gets busted because there was a bag of meth in the photo he used.
I love this
I
picture.
know, it's just a giant.
great picture.
It's not like hidden.
It's not. Yeah. Sometimes
It's not like Where's Waldo?
Sometimes there's like those embarrassing pictures. Take a picture and there's like a mirror in the background and you can see someone's like not wearing clothes.
Or like
and
the selfie and there's like a toilet way
Yeah.
back there with a poop
You're like,
in it.
aha, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like he like lined it up right next
It
to
almost
this
looks like
giant
he's
bag
selling
of
a bag of meth on Etsy or something.
And he's selling this catalytic converter, which makes me think that was stolen. or
That's
something.
probably
He
stolen.
posted his sales for catalytic converter on Facebook Marketplace, and he didn't realize the bag of meth along with a syringe were in plain sight on the coffee table.
Jabbed into it like a
Detectives visited the
sandwich
man
toothpick.
and arrested him.
Sheriff Rader had some profound advice. He said, make sure your drugs are not in the background. Thanks.
I like that the sheriff's name is Raider.
It should be in the,
Sheriff
the
Raider.
checklist when you're posting the photo. Make sure all meth is out of the shop.
Sheriff Raider and Detective Investigator came to the...
Yeah. Is there like an online guide for how to take pictures to sell stuff? Like make sure it's in focus.
Yeah.
Make sure your lighting's good. Check to make sure there's no meth. Giant bags of meth in the background.
With a syringe.
Yeah. A sea lion being chased by a pod of killer whales jumped on a lady's boat. The killer whales then surrounded her boat, and she kicked the sea lion back into the ocean.
So this is a must-see video.
Yeah.
This poor woman. She narrates the whole thing.
Yeah, and she sounds very panicked the whole time.
Yeah. Well, because and it's like a horror
scary.
Because
There's killer whales like
First,
right under
there's
her
a sea
boat.
lion on her boat. She's like, "Why are you here? What are you doing here? Where'd you come from?" And then she looks and she sees all of a sudden she's like this black and white sort of like obscured thing, just giant thing go under a boat. And she goes, and as she's gasping at that, she looks up and there's another one right here that goes like out of the water. And they're all like bigger than her boat. And then she realizes there's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
They're circling her boat. And they're like, give us the sea lion, lady. And the sea lion's just looking at her like, and they're both kind of looking at each other like, what do we do? I don't know.
We demand a sacrifice.
Fate brought us together. And then
man.
Now, they say she kicked the sea lion off the boat. She did kind of come at it a bit and be like, get out of here, get out. And she did. She kind of gave it a little pep talk like, this is the way of the world, your dinner.
This is, her quote is, your dinner, this is how the world works.
This is how the world
and
works.
then she chased it back into the water.
And it just jumped back in. She didn't kick it. There's no foot involved.
She really just bullied it into suicide.
I think a sea lion's too slippery to kick. You kick it and you can go flying back like a banana peel.
Your life isn't worth anything. Nobody likes you.
What confused me about the video is like after the sea lion leaves, she like turns on the engine of the boat and drives away.
Yeah, if she could
I
have
don't
done
understand
that.
why she couldn't drive away with the sea lion just sitting on
She
the
didn't want
back
to get in
of
a
the boat.
high-speed pursuit with the sea
I
lion.
thought they were going to like pursue her maybe.
She didn't want to become the Liam Neeson of sea lions.
Yeah.
And those are like the Russian.
And the sea
mafia
lion is
guys.
like his daughter? Like
Yeah,
Liam
that's what I'm
Neeson's
saying,
daughter?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's a big commitment.
I would watch that movie. Liam Neeson's saving sea lion.
Saving from
Killer
Whales.
Whales.
Listen up.
But I love this tweet. I can't remember who this Twitter person was, but they said she really looked at this handsome gentleman. That's the sea lion she's referring to as a handsome gentleman, which I guess, everyone has their sexual preferences. She looked him in his eye and said, your dinner, this is how the world works, and booted him to his presumed homicide. Heartless, ruthless, cold as ice. I love the idea that she ever becomes a cop and she shows up at a homicide scene. She's like, oh, this is just like when that sea lion got eaten by killer whales. It's homicide. It's just a little broader than usual use of that term.
Do we still say killer whales? I thought they changed it to orca.
They're homicide whales now.
You're only supposed to say orca.
Homicidal whales.
Yes.
I always thought they were just giant panda dolphins.
Something like that.
Hey, Stanford Review discovered that students on campus are twice as likely to wear a mask than a helmet while riding a bike. Is that
okay?
Because you might pass through COVID clouds while you're riding a bike?
So he sat there and he watched the cyclists go by. And he wrote on a paper whether each cyclist wore a mask, a helmet.
Oh, so this guy sat there and...
Neither or both. Yeah, it wasn't like a survey. He was just watching them.
So this
Is it
people
whether-
couldn't lie.
This is interesting.
Is it that they're wearing the mask while they're riding bikes?
Must be,
He's
right?
watching them on the bike. No mask and no helmet
Oh, I see.
was half of them. That's pretty good.
And you're on a college
Right?
campus, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to be getting hit by cars on a college campus. That's why you
Typically.
need the helmet, right?
Okay, mask and no helmet, 34% of them.
This guy, is this his job? Why is he doing this?
He's just bored.
He's just unemployed right now, so he decided to become a
Stanford Review,
mask
is that the
studier.
student? I think that's the student paper.
It sounds like a student paper.
Yeah. Which student papers, they're always looking for dumb stories. Like,
Yeah, I got
I'm
something.
going to count the number. Sounds like a elementary school science project or something.
It seems like being on a bike is a natural social distancing.
Yeah, you don't really need the mask. Mask, no helmet, 34%. Helmet and no mask, 10%. Mask and helmet, 7%. Those are the dweebs that get pushed into a locker
Yeah.
and stuff into the locker.
Okay, so most still, there's hope for a world. Most of them had neither.
Yeah. Most of them were ready to die of either COVID or
Yeah,
brain
they took responsibility for their own life.
This is only tangentially related to this, but it reminded me. I went home to my apartment building last night. We're supposed to wear masks inside still, but it's kind of like nobody does.
In your apartment?
Like in the elevator in the common
okay.
areas.
Yeah.
And I came in, I was carrying a case of food, I'd been at the grocery store, and so I went to get the elevator, and there was a couple in there already with masks, and the doors reopened, and I walked in without a mask, and they ran as if I pulled a gun. They ran out of the elevator, and I said, "Oh, if you're uncomfortable, I'll put on a mask." And they go, "No, we're all right," and they ran up the stairs. Like, I have never seen, they like dove for cover. Like an unmasked man was going to kill them.
We noticed in Vegas, like we'd get on the elevator and there were people that would leave or, wouldn't get, or they'd look in. Oh, no, we're good.
Yeah.
Like we got plenty of room. No, we're good. It's weird.
I did have a bicycle helmet, though.
That's good.
Well, this is my favorite story.
All right.
I think it's, what is it, Adam's turn?
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, get your favorite story.
This is the favorite story of the week. Drunk man reported missing, joins search party for himself. This happened in Turkey. A Turkish man joined a search party for a missing person Not realizing the individual being pursued was him. His name is Behan Mutlu, and he went drinking with a friend in a forest, as you do in Turkey. And his wife reported him missing after he did not return home. She heard that he had walked away from his friend drunk. So then, rescue teams went out looking for him, and he saw the search party and just joined them and started helping them look for the missing person.
I like how many little details here are just passed over.
Yeah.
Who had gone to sleep in a house in the forest.
Yes.
There's a house in the forest he just found, and he fell asleep.
It's like a fairy tale.
What happened? 'Cause the search party is obviously walking around going, Behan. What is he doing?
So he says he came across members of the search party, decided to help them.
Maybe that's a common name over there, Behan.
He then realized he was the focus of the search when they began calling his name. So once he heard it,
I thought he was going to start yelling.
all right, who are we looking for?
Well, I also like that they searched for hours without using his name. They're just like,
Drunk guy.
hey, where's that guy?
Not you, the other drunk guy.
I told them I was Behan Mutlu, but they continued to search. They didn't believe me. The truth came out when my friend Mesut saw me.
He was like, I'll show you on Facebook. Oh, no, it's down.
Yeah.
So he's part of the search team for more than half an hour. That's amazing.
That's wonderful. Feel good story of the week.
They could have turned into an intervention at that point. Just now that we have you here.
We got to talk.
Someone's got to get the film rights. Make that a movie.
Yeah, that would be a good movie. A guy jumped onto the wing of his airliner as it landed at the Miami airport. Wait, hang on.
This is kind of confusing because I'm looking for motivation for why he did this, and I can't find it in there, except for that he had high blood pressure.
Yeah, the article gives that as the only excuse. It says they took him to a hospital and found out he had high blood pressure.
He's got to be like a fugitive or something.
Did he get high blood pressure from jumping onto the wing of a plane? That would give me high blood pressure.
Either he was freaking out and he had to get out of the plane, or he's had drugs on him or something and he had to
That's the thing.
Colombia.
It says he was coming from Colombia.
Colombia,
so,
so it's probably drugs.
He's
lot
an American
there
guy.
that could've-
Oh.
He might have been strapped with meth.
Oh, he's an American citizen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's hiding drugs and he's trying to get off the plane. I don't know.
He bought a catalytic converter and then he just ate whatever it came with.
I can relate to that, though. Everybody's taking forever to get off the plane, and there's doors right there.
Yeah. And you're like, come on, it's right here.
Yeah. There's other ways out.
Well, maybe he was just winging it.
Maybe someone took their
Good
mask.
one. Good
Maybe
one.
Adam.
Better than the nuts pump.
Thanks.
Maybe Adam Yenzer walked on the plane with no mask on.
Yeah. He just had to dive out.
Yeah.
He's carrying stuff. I can't put the mask on. No. Oh, no. Well, we have one more. And it's, oh, look, what a shocker. It's a Guinness record. French chefs create pizza with 834 different cheeses to break the Guinness record for the number of cheeses on a pizza.
I didn't know there was 834 different cheeses.
I didn't know that either.
I figured the record would be 3. Yeah. Like a 3 cheese pizza.
Yeah, I think I had
that's the
12
most I've ever
cheese
seen.
macaroni one time, and I thought that was maxed out.
Yeah.
There's got to be all kinds of mold and funk in that pizza, but I want to eat it.
It's just piled into a mound on top of the dough. Was this even edible at that point, or is it just a mountain?
It looks like a giant
Is there a picture?
It looks like a giant
there?
pie, like a dome on top of bread.
Yeah, it was one shred of each one or something. Well, look, that's great. Good for them. Good for them.
Good job.
Sounds like a very French thing to do.
Yeah. Sad. All right, let's move on to our next segment. Heroes of the Faith.
The bee or not the bee? That is the question I ask myself every morning as I drink from my the bee or not the bee mug. Now you too can drink from this amazing coffee cup and ask yourself the same question. Which is better? It's so hard to decide. In fact, I would say it's absolutely the Babylon Bee, but not the bee's pretty cool too. Enjoy this mug.
And now, it's time for this week's Heroes of the Faith.
Now, most of our Heroes of the Faith segments so far, and I think we've done maybe 2 that had these long stories. One of us has done more study on it than the other one. And this one I don't really know much about. So I'm going to get to sit here and enjoy your exposition on this crazy thing, and I'm going to ask you all kinds of questions. So did you watch the documentary on this lady?
We both watched
I
it.
watched it, yep.
So there's a new documentary on HBO Max. It is called The Way Down. Cleverly named because she had a weight loss program in the 80s called The Way Down, W-E-I-G-H Way. This series is The Way Down, W-A-Y.
But then she
And it really is about her.
Then she crashed in an airplane.
Which is the way down.
Spoiler alert.
That seems like, well, it's like, isn't the first scene of the
it's first
documentary?
scene.
It's how it opens with her crashing in an airplane.
But it really is about her journey from becoming like a Christian weight loss guru to
that's the thing.
starting her own church.
She used the weight loss program, like it's intertwined with the cult of her church. It's like, if you join this church, God will help you lose weight. And there's like commercials of people saying like, I lost 80 pounds with the Way Down program. And then this church just started like controlling every aspect of their like members' lives and like encouraging child abuse and stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah, they eventually became. She started her own church called the Remnant Church in Tennessee, and there's the weird thing, like a lot of the cults that you will watch documentaries on have way clearer, like they all live in a commune. There's clear abuse going on. This one has some of that, but it is a little more murky. Because a lot of it's like, well, could that just be like the way there in the South? They're into spankings or whatever. Like, but there was, for instance, she did at one point when she started her own church denied the Trinity.
Yes,
which is always a red flag, right, for cults.
Yeah,
because that's one thing I find interesting is when a church, like a Christian church, becomes a cult. What is the line?
Well, it had a woman pastor for one thing.
Yeah, that's over the line right there. Her justification for that, she said she had male leadership above her that were secret.
Yeah, but she's this weird, like, charismatic lady with like this hair that just. But when she starts out, she looks like a Southern Belle, like blonde lady, and then as she like gains power in this church and gains more followers, her hair becomes this like
her body gets smaller and her hair
head.
It's giant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Samson. Like that's the source of her strength.
That could be it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a minute to talk about the hair before we dive in. What is that? That's just like,
and they said
8
like
inches tall.
Yeah,
and like,
it looks like it's like gelled up, and then like a fountain of hair on her head.
That's where she's probably she probably binges and purges, so she just hides all her snacks up there.
And one of the followers, like they interview in it, it's one of those things where like no one can like criticize the leader. So like after the fact, they'll be like, yeah, her hair was ridiculous. But they were like, while we were in it, nobody would ever like dare criticize her hair or say how ridiculous it was looking.
Yeah, maybe it's a test to weed out the false believers. Like you do this insane hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if somebody criticizes it, you're like, oh, you're out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there's also accusations that because it was a weight loss church in the beginning, like she's giving some deposition, and they ask her if her church shunned fat people because they didn't want it to like spoil the image of like, if you join this church, God will help you lose weight.
Yeah.
She was married to a fat guy. That was one of the weird things.
Yeah.
He kind of was faded into the background quite a bit. And then she just divorced him. And she was very hard. She wouldn't let anybody get divorced in this church.
Yeah.
And then suddenly one day she just divorced this guy and married this this kind
Tarzan actor.
Tarzan actor. So this like young stud. He's not that young by the time they get married, but still he looks like a kind of a dollar store David Hasselhoff, which I guess David Hasselhoff's kind of. David Hasselhoff's like Five Below. This guy's dollar store.
And he was famous for starring in some like 80s television Tarzan series.
But he went
and she married him. And then he would try to get into like country music singing for a while. And I love at the one part it says like he wanted to focus on his hobbies like falconry. It shows like I feel like that's a red flag if you're dating a weird guy and his hobbies are falconry.
I wouldn't say 100% of falconry people are questionable, but probably a large something
it's a
to look
little
into.
Red flag, yeah. It's a yellow flag at least.
Yeah.
So you can use the falcon to like take money from church members.
Yeah.
I mean that's probably good. So did we even say her name yet? Gwen Shamblin Lara?
Gwen Shamblin Lara.
Yep.
And walk me through this. What the heck is going on here? So she had a weight loss workshop first.
The basic idea of her weight loss was you wait till your stomach growls and you can eat. You can eat whatever you want, but it's only when your body is hungry enough to growl.
So you have to wait for the sound.
Yeah.
And like the diet strategy behind it was all just like portion control to some degree, and then when they were like really harsh on people, they'd tell them to like fast for like days and weeks at a time.
Like if you put weight on, then you have to go hardcore, and they would use 40 days and nights of fasting. I guess they thought that was Jesus trying to get fit.
And in the one interview, she in a positive way in her mind compares her weight loss program to people losing weight in concentration camps, and the interviewer is like, you did not seriously just do that. And she's like, I forget what she says, but she's like,
she seemed like, what? What's wrong with that?
They lose weight.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the Soviet diet
But then
plan is what it is.
So then, yeah, people join this church, and there are obviously theological issues with her denying the Trinity, and it seems like this very, heretical kind of church. But it's operating just sort of like a weird group of like cult people to some degree. But then there's this family in the church that their son is he dies, and it becomes very apparent that they beat him because the things do you want to tell them what they taught people to beat their children with?
So there's things in there where they're talking about, I don't know, my kid doesn't react to spanking or whatever, we don't do. And so there's tape of her recommending glue sticks as a thing to use to discipline your children. It's like her life hack.
Yeah.
Is have you tried one of those long glue sticks from Joann's Fabrics or whatever? And
the hot glue gun.
They use it like a
gun
switch
stick.
to beat their kids.
Oh, that would hurt. That would
Yeah.
hurt. Hey, you're not one to talk, though. You have the Scream juice.
That was brilliant.
What's the Scream juice?
Well, I didn't want to leave marks. So I made a concoction of different hot sauces and lime juice and just most horrible tasting thing. And I just make him, when he would just scream and throw a giant fit and be horrible, I just said, okay, take a little sip of this. I probably did it twice in my life.
You could start a church around that.
Why not? So you do it. That is one thing that strikes me about when I see these documentaries. I don't want to be too mean here, but it feels like people are very gullible.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
And I'm talking about my people, Christians, people that I love. If you want to take advantage of them, you really can get away with it.
It's always shocking that so many people are searching for that meaning in their life, that they will fall for these cult leaders and charismatic preachers and stuff that preach this stuff. And it's also what we were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's weird because you don't really think of God being a diet program. Yeah. But then there are legitimate ways where when people are fighting a gambling addiction or drug addiction or alcohol or sex or pornography addiction, there is an element of a spiritual aid in kind of overcoming those things. Mm-hmm. And it's weird when people use something like that something's somebody's struggling against this and searching for meaning, and then they use this spiritual aspect to manipulate them into following this whole cult where it starts taking over their entire life. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's some of the weird stuff about this is there's family members that have they've had daughters and stuff join the church and then basically be kind of cut off from the family. They would get so the daughter could contact the church. They'd give them a burner phone, weird stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that we were talking about this. I think there's an aspect here where I think a lot of these cult-ish churches, they focus on physical things. I think that it's harder to focus on spiritual, and theology and things. It's easier. I think this is why this is the appeal of environmentalism and of weight loss and health. It's an outward. You can look at the results, and they're in real time. They're here on Earth, and I think it's hard to make the argument against that and say there's red flags there.
It gives people gratification, right, in the here and now, rather than pursuing being a better person or pursuing reward in the afterlife. It's this is, and that's the basis of, I feel a lot of prosperity gospel and the stuff of God will make you rich if you follow this teaching and stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, and it's produced by Chrissy Teigen.
Oh yeah, that was interesting too.
I thought was canceled, but she apparently produced this documentary.
Yeah, maybe it was she jealous because Chrissy Teigen's got her own kind of weight loss books, and she has surgery to take fat out and stuff. Is she kind of jealous?
Maybe Chrissy Teigen's trying to take down this competing weight loss program.
But the flip side of this was the journalists and people that were some of the journalists that were documenting this on this series were clearly. It was almost like a general ignorance of Christian culture. These people actually believe the Bible.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So then you start to wonder, I want to step back and go, is this, they're the people that I don't really agree with are dogpiling on these people, who I also don't really agree with. And you're suddenly tempted to take a side, which I guess that's why I thought it'd be good for us to talk about on this podcast. Let's take the third side. What is the more rational position here? They clearly were cult, or at least on the verge of becoming a full-on cult.
Yeah.
They didn't have the compound and stuff yet. They have a big giant church, but... And
what I was wondering also, it's not just the people that fall for these cults and become the followers. I wonder, these, preachers like this that gain these followers, do you think they start with genuine convictions? Like when she started, do you think she really believed what she was saying, that this was God? Or do you think they're doing it as just an egotistical manipulation from the start? That they realize they can have power over people by doing this? And by that, like an extension of that, is it like a temptation that a lot of pastors or preachers have to wrestle with, like as they gain more power, that they're not doing it for their own, acclaim and narcissism and like satisfying their own power?
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, I think it happens from both ways. Like you definitely see guys that you could see. You look at someone like Joel Osteen, who obviously teaches this prosperity gospel that I think is false and terrible. Yeah. But his dad was a pastor at the same church, and he grows up in it, and he's like, man, I'm going to take over. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
And I think kind of just at some point you realize you're at the center of this giant machine that you've created, and what do? Like deny it all? Like you've bought into it so much, I don't know. Yeah. You're almost brainwashing yourself, believing your own lie, believing your own myth.
That's a good way of putting it. You're like brainwashing yourself, because it is eventually you're like making yourself God. Like it's no longer what is this teaching? It's what can I teach these people, and what can I what message can I give them?
This is tangential, but we just watched that Lula Roe documentary on Amazon. Have you guys seen that yet?
I haven't.
It was pretty good. There was a couple times they interviewed this crazy feminist journalist and just randomly commenting about race and gender that didn't have anything to do with it. But it's like the couple is like an older Mormon couple. And you could tell at the beginning she just wanted to help ladies like sell clothes. Yeah. And then by the end she's like being deposed by the investigators, like, I just wanted to help ladies. I didn't know I started a pyramid scheme.
I think part of it is when you're in that position and you're helping people and changing people's lives, there are like the little voices in your head that are telling you like you are an amazing person.
She probably had a lot of voices under that hair.
Yeah, that are you deserve this fame, those things that you need to kind of fight back. But then you have real humans saying the same stuff to you, and everybody is in their own little world depending on what you're doing. Like even in the Babylon Bee, it feels like the whole world is talking about the Babylon Bee because that's the world we live in. Really, there's a bunch of people that aren't. Whatever you're doing, and I think when you're that celebrity in that world, it feels like this is the world that I'm in, and I am the prophet of this world, and it feels so much bigger than it really is. And I think that the moment you're losing that perspective, that you're just you're one more pastor and a lot of pastors out there.
Yeah, and we said that I think one of the things in Christianity that keeps that in check among the pastors that do share the truth is a big part of Christianity is realizing that we're all sinners and we're all at fault. Because I think when someone starts becoming the leader of a movement like that, and you see that in this documentary, is she becomes so obsessed with kind of protecting her own image. It's like, I can't let them know that I have a fat husband, or that I'm getting divorced, or that my kid is having an affair outside of his marriage. It becomes more and more about like presenting yourself as a perfect person, where, like the thing you always have to keep in mind, no matter how much you're a teacher or a preacher or you have followers, it's always like you're a fallible person too.
Another one that comes to mind is that Rise and Fall of Mars Hill podcast is out right now, and they chronicle Mark Driscoll's rise to fame, and it's pretty good. And there's a couple episodes I didn't love, but yeah, they go through his thing, and you can hear they play different clips where you can hear at the beginning him telling the story of how the church got founded, and it's like a few of us got together and we just wanted to serve the Lord, and by the end he's created this whole myth of like the Lord told me that I had to come forward and be the one to fight for Christianity and save it in Seattle, and it's like it's like he starts to believe his own myth, And at some point it's like you can't let on that you're a flawed person because you've become the center of this movement. Yeah. We always just gravitate towards those kind of charismatic leaders. I think.
Yeah, and then we mentioned, there was this murder trial of this couple within the church that, beat their son to death. And then the church actually steps in and has lawyers, and they fund defending this couple. I think because they don't want it to reflect.
They simultaneously deny that they're teaching had anything to do with the kid being killed. And even I believe because there's a girl there who was like one of the Sunday school teachers or whatever, or daycare, watching children, and the kid's throwing a giant fit, and the dad goes, well, all you got to do is hit him hard. She's like, I'm not going to hit him hard. He's like, you just got to hit him hard. And then he took him to the back room, and she could hear him being beat. Yeah. And she just she quit her job that day. But that kind of thing. So that was the shadiest part of that for me, was like they're paying all his bills, defending him. She's showing up at his trials. Yeah. And then at the same time saying like, this had nothing to do with us. Well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. The other one weird thing in there was it went out of my head the moment I said that sentence.
Should we just start saying words?
Keep talking. You guys keep talking. So I can come back
Well,
to me.
the what's her name? Gwen. She was like, you see her sitting in the trial, you see her hair in the background, just sitting there, like observing everything.
It was like Big Bird back there.
And and the church they put out on this church still exists. Like they have on their website like a response to this, still denying that they had anything to do with this boy's death or any of the accusations against them.
That was another weird thing. It's just another random weird picking from the tree of fruit of weirdness from this church. They had one of their, so I think her daughter, so Gwen's daughter's baby died. I think it was SIDS. I think they said SIDS. Maybe it was not feeding it. Who knows? So they believe that, it's prosperity gospel. If you're living and healthy, that's because God's blessing you. So if somebody dies, that's bad. There's sin in the church. Well, they said there clearly couldn't be us sinning. So then they started investigating church members for sin because they said that must be why our baby died.
Yeah.
They're trying to find the Jonah to throw off the boat.
Yeah.
And what you were just saying there, that that it's always punishment. That there's a scene where Gwen is talking to the kids in the congregation about obeying their parents. Mm-hmm. She's like, you have to listen the first time, or else you will live a horrible short life and wind up in a painful afterlife. It's like you're gonna die young and go to hell if you don't listen to your parents the first time they tell you to do something.
That kid, they're like locking in a box. Reminds me of like Carrie or something.
Yeah.
And you read that stuff like Stephen King writes Carrie, and you're like, oh, this guy doesn't understand Christianity.
Yeah.
He's
And then she goes, hit him with the glue stick, and then give him the scream juice.
Yeah, I think the nuanced perspective is basically like, somebody from the secular world will watch that and go, this is what all religion leads to.
Yeah.
This is what all religion is.
It makes...
And for us, we go, oh, it's an abuse of that system. But
because, I think because they have deeper issues with people having a belief system based on, on scripture for one thing, having that anywhere. And then also... disciplining your children, things like that. There's just these things where you can latch onto all that and go, see? Or the idea that all the people in the South are fake. It's all fake smiles, so you see this.
There was some of that, too, the conflation of the exploitation with the actual belief in that Little Growth thing where they're talking to the Mormon couple and they're like, they believe that men should be the head of the household,
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of this one, they're saying how... They're kind of setting up the scene of how this church developed in Tennessee. And one of the experts from outside the church is like, yeah, depending on where you grow up, the Christian church and beliefs are very different. Like if you grew up in Boston or New York, and they go, here in Tennessee, people believe that it's the literal word of God and Jesus is the only one you should worship. And it's like, well, yeah, that part is pretty sound.
Fairly sound.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, notice when they went off from that's when things started going down. Anyway, so hey, recommended if you're interested or not.
And there's still 2 episodes left.
There are?
There are, yeah.
Well,
so
I guess they decided to add some because of the popularity death and all that. Well, because of the death.
That's what's crazy. While they were shooting
it seemed like it was over.
While they were shooting this documentary is when all the leaders of the church died in this plane crash. And then after they died in the plane crash, more members were willing to come forward who didn't want to talk while they were still alive, and they were willing to say more. So
it's only 3 episodes long so far, but apparently 2 more coming out. Okay. But it's nice they kept it shorter. Sometimes they stretch these things out a little too much.
I'm looking at a checklist of signs of a cult.
Okay.
Focused on a leader.
Yes.
That members seem to display zealous, unquestioning loyalty. Group is preoccupied with bringing in new members and money.
Mm-hmm. That was another weird thing. They had so they started opening all these businesses that the church was basically funding or whatever. Like they were directly connected. So it was all these different utility businesses. So basically they were trying to build up enough of all these different utilities so that they could just they could stay
you're always insular. Within the church community.
Electronics,
if you need your car repaired, there's an auto mechanic in the church. If you need a plumber, there's a plumber from the church. It's like everything in your life is controlled.
It's like a big industry to us. It's not like a little tiny shop. Like these are as well.
That's why I would never want to start a call. It's just too much work. I feel like I don't know.
Well, Jim Jones did it right. You just go get a little, go out in the jungle, a little camp out.
Questioning and dissent are discouraged.
Yes, true. Check.
Always suppress doubts about the group or leadership.
Check.
you have to get permission to come and go, where to live, how to discipline children.
That was one thing they said too. Like you have to get permission if you're going to have family members visit you, if you're going to go anywhere, even to a wedding or a funeral or whatever. Like the church has to. They showed the messages from like their WhatsApp or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we better check with Gwen on that one. We don't know if she wants you to go to that funeral.
The leader is considered messianic and extra-biblical revelation. God communicates directly to the group's leader. I think that's one of those distinguishing things.
Right.
They're always like, God told me.
Yeah.
What are you going to say? Like, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
I disagree with your opinion. All right, well, check out the documentary. Take it with a grain of salt.
With a grain of salt.
Because they're heathens who made that. Hey, we got some, if you haven't checked out our sketches on YouTube, please do so.
Yeah.
Because the more views, shares, clicks we get on that, the more it shows our leadership. You guys want more of that stuff. And if you subscribe.
And they're genuinely funny sometimes.
And and if you subscribe or you become a member on YouTube, it helps fund that. So we bought the Lego Capitol building.
See, they want more followers, and they're trying to get money from them. This is a cult. This is a cult.
Please laugh without questioning.
Yeah,
laugh without questioning.
God told them to make these sketches.
But we need your money because we had to buy the Lego Capitol building, and it cost like $150 to get the dang Lego Capitol building already assembled for a half-second shot in our FBI sketch. But sometimes, we do want to be a cult, and you want to think that we're perfect. But sometimes we do make mistakes, and so we have bloopers and outtakes. And if you're a subscriber, you get those outtakes and bloopers. But we're going to share some of our favorite clips right now.
The hijinks that have gone on behind the scenes.
Lots of wackiness, lots of wacky hijinks. So this was my favorite one. And are we going to be able to play these? Is that the idea here?
You guys better play them.
Yes, so
like back there's crestfallen. We have to edit.
So to set this one up, we're doing our teachers union sketch, and this was kind of a stitch into it from we did this whole pilot for like what a TV show would look like. So Ethan comes running into the room, and he's supposed to jump into the chair to be in the teachers union, and it was on wheels. And he kind of the first time you kind of slammed
I couldn't get through the door for a couple times. It didn't open when I turned.
Okay, action, and we hear this boom.
Yeah, I hit it hard.
Are you okay? Just watch it; it's funny. But anyway, the second time you'll see what happens.
The chair just kept going.
You all right? You okay?
Okay.
I'm trying too hard here. Chair on wheels.
The thing is, it was funnier. You can hear how hard we're laughing. It doesn't look as funny on. It was funny,
But it's like
because I couldn't stop. It was I was so out of control of myself.
and you were like 50 pounds heavier than you are now.
True.
And you just kind of like Supermaned across the room, and like you could not.
Because I was supposed to stop right there where the chair was, and then me and the chair went across the room to the couch. We also did one, and I don't think this moment is on video.
Oh,
but,
this isn't on video.
So we had Kyle tied up as if it was Jeff Bezos, I think, had tied you up or something like that.
I think that one was the Snopes one. If I
Snopes
remember
one.
right.
So he's just tied to a chair with ropes and gagged, and like it looks like a hostage situation. And we had ordered DoorDash. And this guy, most people, because where we are, it looks kind of like a house. So, but it's a business area, but they turn the houses into businesses. So most people still knock. But this guy, I guess, just walked right in. And
I don't know why he did that. He
and
just
there, he walks in with the DoorDash, and he sees Kyle tied up. And
with cameras.
And he just before you guys can even explain what's going on, he just puts food down. I was like, I don't know what he said.
No trouble. I want
no trouble. And he just took off. He just took off.
I think Ehrlich or somebody was holding a gun. They had a gun off to the side.
A fake gun. Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, it's for a video." He's like, "Oh, I don't care. And he just walked out.
The thing is, cops came by later and actually was unrelated. But
like a few minutes later, he
waiting.
We're like, "Oh no." So we had one where we had Brian Stelter appear, and he was a little potato, with a bow tie on, and Ehrlich, our writer, lied under the table, holding up the potato for us to respond to, and I can't.
And we were
say,
trying to have a straight face talk to a potato.
I can't describe how hard it is to keep a straight face when
It was when he would make it whip towards you. You're talking, and it goes.
He would give his little speech.
Like
You'd be like, "Excuse me, Mr. Stelter," and he would just whip it around and look at you, and you just could not.
And it would have to like look up like that. You know?
I can't think of
like
too many
a toddler
times.
looking up at.
There hasn't been too many times where we've
father.
had to do like 20 takes or something because we're cracking up.
Yeah.
But that one, like I couldn't.
You should
hold
just
it
have the
together.
potato guest host.
Yeah, bring him on sometime.
Bring him
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
So stupid, so dumb.
Thanks for having me.
Did Joe Biden make a mistake waiting this long to pull out of Afghanistan? He turned and looked at me. I can't.
He did the stop sign with his hand.
Can't see. Let's do a short one.
He like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just say really.
Did Joe Biden? Did Joe Biden make a mistake?
It's how fast it whips around.
Did Joe Biden make a mistake waiting this long to pull out of Afghanistan? Did you mistake it?
I thought it was so calm and it just came out.
Did Joe Biden make a mistake?
Why are you?
Trying stuff.
You were there for the Tupperware one.
Yeah, the Tupperware full
That
of
was
chini.
at our. So we did our FBI sketch.
Yeah, and you were supposed to accuse one of the other FBI agents of taking your fettuccine out of the refrigerator.
Yeah, eating
And
a
we-
Tupperware full of fettuccine.
And we thought it was like an ad lib that you had done to be funny, but I don't even think you were
I
just
had
talking
no idea.
fast and in the moment. And you go, "Where's my chini?"
And I said, a Tupperware full of chini.
Yeah, it was where's your Tupperware full of
Yeah.
chini?
I put full of and feta together.
Full
into
of chini.
Full of chini.
Where's your Tupperware full of chini? You mistook for mine.
Full of chini.
Did I say full of chini? I said full of chini?
No, that's the best.
I thought that was a choice.
That's the best. Chini.
And then that take stayed in. We all thought it was
we liked it,
hilarious.
yeah.
So we're like, yeah.
Just sounds like the guy at the office that shortens everything.
Yeah.
Eating my chini.
I like calling that, like, now I feel like I will refer to fettuccine as chini.
Yeah,
It's
forever.
good, yeah.
Forever it's going to happen.
is.
I also got to say, just as a behind the scenes note, that it was about 180 degrees.
It was insanely
And
hot.
so in the video, you can see
You
we're
can see
all
how
just
it works.
drooping sweat.
Yeah.
And
We
we're
have-
getting sweatier as it goes on, which is perfect for the tenseness of
And it was about 100 degrees that day.
It was
Yeah.
super hot.
And we'd open
every
the-
like 4 or 5
and
takes
we're
we
wearing
had to open
jackets.
the garage. And
We're
it
wearing
felt
multiple
cold
layers.
outside.
It felt like it was
even
like
though
60
it was like
degrees
80.
outside, and we're like, like
Yeah.
on the 100 degree. There's also another outtake where the sweat gets into your eyes.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the,
my eyes.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of a line and I'm like, my eyes are burning.
Well, we did put a lot of work in this plot. My eyes.
Because you know, the grime from your head goes into your eyes.
It was amazing.
And that was another one where if somebody had walked in on it, because there's like a Confederate flag and bombs.
We
and
had a
fake
we had a
bombs.
pizza
guns
guy show
everywhere.
up.
Yeah.
We had a pizza guy show up, and we're all holding guns with a Confederate flag on the wall.
Yeah.
Some plans and the Capitol building on.
Yeah.
We're all wearing MAGA hats, and I think Patrick, did you talk to him?
Yeah, I was just like, it's
He's like, oh, we're filming something. So yeah. So Ethan got a fork. He got what is it called?
Tine?
Is that what they're called?
Tines,
Yeah,
the little pokey
The little
part.
spiky
One of the-
part
yep.
of the fork stuck in your throat.
So it was one of those silver plastic ones. We may have mentioned this in a previous episode, but I was just trying to go crazy as this angry senator who was trying to show how mad he is, and I started biting things. And I bit this fork. I was thinking, I'll just bite it and spit it out. But the tine kind of like bent and flung back, and one of them just shot into the back of my throat.
I was impressed by how that fork like shattered.
It shattered
like,
like a-
didn't
yeah,
like break
like a
into
CD.
big pieces. It was like some of it exploded outwards
Yeah.
and some of it went down your throat.
Yeah, if you ever try to snap a CD as a kid because it
Yeah.
was like Pearl Jam or a secular CD or whatever, it's like,
It's shocking how it explodes.
Yeah.
That's those forks do that. I now know.
yeah.
I think there's a little shard of fork in my throat.
You all right?
So
I love the
And
example
it was in my
of
throat all
destroying
night.
your
Wow.
secular CDs.
And it's so specific. It's
Yeah.
Pearl Jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad.
Oh, and my favorite line during that when you got that in your throat we were all asking if you were okay because we were worried about you. And you're like, no, I just want to make sure it doesn't go down the wrong pipe. And I'm like, it's a plastic fork. There's no right pipe.
There's no correct pipe.
There's no healthy area of your body.
It's the medical diagram.
plastic
you have
spike
food,
to go into.
air, plastic utensils go down this
The
one.
recycling tube.
Oh, this is... Do we have this on video?
So the
Brandon
only
has
video
some
of this is Brandon was videoing me. So if you've seen the Hank and Jim,
Hank and Jim, yeah, the two.
so we're the two
rednecks.
redneck guys, and I
totally-
wanted to look really authentic, so I like ground bricks into my outfit, and I wanted to cover myself in dirt, and look like a real hillbilly guy that had never showered in weeks. So I went out to the back alleyway and started to rub dirt onto my bare chest, and we live in a normal neighborhood town, and as I was doing this, Brandon was filming with this video, and Brandon's this handsome young Asian man. So there's this handsome young Asian man filming a morbidly obese, pasty white guy in overalls, rubbing dirt all over his chest, kind of sensuously, if you think about it. And then this woman who looks like a real estate agent just walks by, and he pulled the camera down once he felt too weird, but it was that moment of just her walking into that like what's happening right now.
Yeah, and the funny part about you rubbing that dirt on yourself is we told you to get a little dirty, and you come up and it looks like you're in blackface. Yeah, you rubbed so much dirt on your face, so we had to take some off. But even in the video, it's still a lot. And then you did it again because we filmed a little tag with Hank and Jim, and you're like, okay, I'm ready.
I can't see my face. I use you guys as the gauge. I don't use a mirror.
So Ethan making dolphins. So.
Ehrlich mentioned that as his favorite clip, and that was. We were doing that one where we do different pronouns and the dolphin's pronoun.
Oh yeah, because
you were supposed to do the sound, and then I.
Yeah, we were.
It may be another one of those you had to be there moments. I can't tell.
The best part of it was we were trying to get a dolphin sound, and so we said the pronoun.
We were saying we'll just go. You'll move your mouth, and we'll add the noise later.
The pronoun. It's echo the dolphin's pronouns are, and then we said, oh, let's just open our mouth and we'll do it. And then you're like, you said something like.
Or you could do something kind of like this.
You're all, I don't really know how to do a dolphin sound, but maybe something like this. And you just go do it.
Give us a little dolphin sound. I want to hear this now.
He said it's the face I make.
That's fine.
I can't smile while I do it, though. Whoa, that was not it. That was not it. That was a dolphin farting. I think it was the moment of it coming out of nowhere.
Kyle, just open your mouth and we'll put dolphin sounds in it.
I thought you were going the best second is.
You gotta have him do it. And you could add whatever to it.
I never made laugh at already.
This is how you said it. Well, the best I can do.
Okay, it's not.
This is the best.
It's not high pitched enough. It's not.
And I've never practiced.
It's not legit. It's a noise I figured out.
Perfect dolphin.
I couldn't possibly.
It's a weird noise I figured out how to do, but I never thought it was a dolphin. And someone said that, and I'm like, well, I wasn't going for a dolphin, but it gets an accidental dolphin sound.
I don't even know what a dolphin is. I've never even heard of a dolphin before, but does it sound something like this?
It's not that funny.
It's the face. It's half of it's the face.
Yeah, the face, man.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that was so great.
But you'll in the video you can see everybody's dying.
So we have our animator Gavin has a large collection of firearms,
Fake ones.
fake ones,
And lightsabers.
and lightsabers and all kinds of nerdy props. And so we had to do this video where we had a terrorist, and we said, "Do you have something that looks like an AK-47?" So he brings in a giant stack of different rifles for us to choose from, his prized possessions. And Patrick managed to snap the stock off of one. So you have to watch this video, but Patrick's going all just crazy.
There's a break in the video.
In the video, yeah. We have it on video. Yeah, watch this; it's hilarious.
I'm a journalist. I couldn't tell you what kind of gun that was if you put it to my head.
Guy, if you kill the coffee, you must refill the coffee! Now I kill the coffee!
Oh no! Holy cow!
Oh no. That'll be a gun.
Oh, goodness gracious. And then this is just a catch-all.
Seamus.
All
Seamus
the
Coughlin.
All the outtakes with Seamus.
If you haven't seen our Rod Butch, is it Rod Butch?
Rod Butch.
His debate tactics video. We filmed so much on that. So many jokes, doing his like pep talks and like outtakes.
There's
and
probably
moves.
hours of footage of that one.
So subscribers got mega bonus footage, and it's I think it's one of our funniest videos. We put a ton of work into it. It's very much got the 80s, Mortal Kombat and fatality moves and stuff. And
just like we got to basically film a Rex
ripped
Kwon
a skeleton. Ripped a skeleton out of a guy. I ran over a guy with a truck, punched a guy into the sun, and nobody watched it. So watch that, but then watch all the extras where he's chugging Sunday Delight and stuff.
Hot dog is a sandwich. Liberals! Drag queens! Can you computer make me look like Nicolas Cage? Yeah! Don't touch my Sunny D, bro!
Do the hand up again.
The only... My chest itches! You think you can run from me, boy? You think you can get out of this debate?
It was pretty amazing.
So yeah, good times over here.
Check out the outtakes and pay us money. And I'm also infallible, and God told me to tell you that you have to give us money. Does this qualify?
Speaking of that, I was going to say, did we explain the heresy?
Does this qualify for heresy, Jar?
Are you trying to be heretical so we can put money in the heresy
No, I was
jar?
trying to be like a cult leader. But I guess I am now going to.
Is it only if you sincerely believe a heresy, or is it just you even jokingly say
I
something?
think jokingly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's probably more blasphemy than heresy. But,
All right.
So in the comments section, you're going to start calling us out on our heresy.
And we'll put some money in
If you're
there.
the type of guy that calls people out on their heresy, I think you're probably already doing it.
Yeah.
In the comments. That's probably your thing.
Yeah, that's already your thing. Hey, let's do some hate mail.
Okay.
Hey, sorry to interrupt that hilarious podcast that you were just listening to, but my buddy Ethan and I here were thinking you might not be a Babylon Bee subscriber, and we need to correct that.
Yeah, in fact, I could smell it in the room. It smells like a non-subscriber in here.
Or is that cow farts?
Could be cow farts.
I can't tell.
Hey, if you subscribe, you get this giant, awesome, beautiful coffee table book full of beautiful images.
What?
And hilarious stories.
Premium subscribers get this for a limited time, which is crazy because
facts.
this book is like half the cost of a Babylon
It's
Bee
like a brick of
subscription
gold.
anyway. And
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So you get a coupon code for cheaper merchandise. You get to be part of the community. The advantages are endless to be a Babylon Bee subscriber.
Literally infinite.
Oh, you get our bloopers from our...
Oh, yeah, those are really fun.
Those are hilarious. A gas. So please,
Yeah.
go to babylonbee.com/plans.
Subscribe.
Become one of the elite,
The few.
the Babylon Bees.
I really miss Adam Ford.
All right, this is from Donna. And Donna replies to an email we sent out. And she says, usually love your articles, but when you mock faith /evangelical/ Christian stuff, I cringe. Not funny. Hurtful. And never done to Asian or Middle Eastern people. Reconsider, please.
Well, technically we do any evangelical Asian or Middle Eastern person
Would be also mocking
is
them.
in there.
I would say we should reconsider and do more to mock Middle Eastern and Asian people.
She wants more
That'll
Asian.
fix it. Maybe she'll be happy.
All right, who's
then.
got a good Asian joke?
We need... we need...
Do we have
Brandon here?
Accent.
Gavin?
No,
Gavin
we
here?
need Brandon for the voice.
What's your favorite Asian joke?
I just like that she's really offended that they're making fun of her. And she's like, you know who you should make fun of?
Other people.
Asians.
And that she doesn't know our site. That's like how the whole site got started.
I usually love your articles, Babylon Bee, except when you make Christian jokes.
Right. That's like going to Subway and be like, I usually love your salads, but you guys should stop with the sandwiches.
Stop with the sandwiches. It's offensive. All right, we're going to move into our subscriber lounge. We've got some love mail. We've got a classic Bee article. We've got bonus hate mail that's absolutely
Bonkers.
insane. I wanted to do it in the free portion, but
this
it's
one's-
going to be so bleeped.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe when I read it. I can't
Are we
believe
gonna
you're
get this on here?
You're going to
Yeah.
say it.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
And then we're going to do
packed into one hate
some
mail.
subscriber headlines. We ready?
I'm ready. Join us. If you want to join us, you can click that join button on YouTube if you just like videos. If you want to get the whole package, go to babylonbee.com/plans and really join us.
Coming up next for Babylon Bee
At
subscribers.
this rate, there won't be any stupid
Flower bed, snotface, strawberry, ivermectin,
sucking drumpfalupas left, including that
jackwagon,
Joe the D. Wormer Rogan. I could see someone from the left just hating me
Just hating, yeah.
because I just have that hateable face. A really punchable face. It was actually a pretty good conversation all the way through. There was just a couple of times where she was trying to pin me down on like, why do you guys make fun of fat people so much?
They called Trump fat. They
Right.
called Rush Limbaugh fat. They
just-
Wondering what they'll say next? The rest of this podcast is in our super exclusive premium subscriber lounge. Go to babylonbee.com/plans for full-length ad-free podcasts. Kyle and Ethan would like to thank Seth Dillon for paying the bills, Adam Ford for creating their job, the other writers for tirelessly pitching headlines, the subscribers, and you, the listener. Until next time, this is Dave DeAndrea, the voice of the Babylon Bee.